30 to 60 days from now, we're going to have a shitload more money in our crypto trading accounts. Why? Because I have been waiting 4 years for this exact setup that I'm looking at right here in the charts. I'm going to show you exactly what this means and how big of implications this has for us to strap onto a rocket ship and go to the fucking moon right now. But a few things need to happen. One, we have CPI, PPI, and the federal funds FOMC rate coming out over the next 2 weeks. And if those stars don't align, we are all screwed and we're all going to get slapped on really big. But if those stars do align, and this chart pattern that I've been looking at for the last 4 years finally comes into fruition in the next 30 to 60 days, we are going to make more money than we have in basically since the 2021 bull market. So let's get into the charts. Let's see what we got cooking. All right, guys, welcome to the show. If you're not subscribed, you better hit that subscribe button right now, because what we're going to look at today is going to have huge implications. I've been trading for 20 years. I've made millions of dollars trading these crypto cycles simply by understanding the cycles of crypto. A lot of people get way too much FOMO, lose all their cash. They earn a little bit of money on the way up and then lose it all on the way down. So speaking of market cycles, where are we in the market cycle right now? Okay. If we look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has already broken its force pattern, and it's essentially doing a little bit of this, going up here and then kind of bouncing right here and consolidating at the force pattern right now. What I think is going to happen is Bitcoin is going to bounce off this level and have a continued run upwards of $130,000 to $150,000 per coin. And if we look at others in Total 3, which is the altcoin total cap market, we have been consolidating in this force pattern for the last 4 years, since the top of the 2021 bull market. That is how long we have been waiting for this pattern to come into fruition, okay? Because you really can't get a much more picture-perfect force pattern than this. This is the Total 3. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and I think whatever the third altcoin is. But this pattern has huge implications for if this breaks out of this force pattern. We're probably going to $1.5 to $2 trillion market cap for the altcoins. And you can see clearly, looking at the market cycle that I trade, we are in the force pattern right now, where the previous ATH is broken, and we have a triangular force pattern at the peak before we go on a monumental run, which is the final leg of the bull market. Until 50-day moving average breaks, we call that Armageddon, and then everyone keeps buying the dip that keeps on dipping and makes zero money in the bull market because they give it all back on the way down and everyone gets liquidated. So you have to ensure that you're locking in profits on the way up. Otherwise, you're never going to make any money. If you've been in any crypto bull market before, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. And you're thinking, man, I wish I would have sold, unless you're holding Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the only asset that's really upwards of all-time highs, other than XRP, which we're going to talk about XRP because I'm balls deep in XRP right now. But this is the pattern that we're in right now. You can see others, Total 3 is on the verge of bullishly flagging here. This is the weekly chart. If we break out above this level, we're at least going to 1.5 trillion. That would be my best guess. Okay. The problem is we have PPI, I think, out tonight. Today is September 9th, right? By the time this gets released, it's probably September 10th, and maybe we're already crashing because PPI sucked. I don't know. Then we have CPI the next day. And then the following week, we have the FOMC federal funds rate, which there's believed to be a 100% probability that we are going to cut rates. And that's what everyone's hoping for, so that interest rates drop, home prices decrease a bit, easier to get loans so people can get more money to continue borrowing to go buy more shit. And everything's saved and we can go back to living our lives. That's what everybody's expecting. And if that all goes good and nobody freaks out, if this pattern breaks out to the upside and Bitcoin does, in fact, bounce off this weekly demand zone that we're in right now and the weekly degenerate trend, this is a picture-perfect bounce zone to retest the force pattern breakout from the previous highs here. And then we pump upwards of $130,000 to $150,000 per Bitcoin. We cash the fuck out. We go buy our dream cars, buy new condos, buy new villas in Bali, of which mine is for sale right now, and you get the fuck out of crypto, because crypto winter is going to come eventually. One of these big swoops, especially in altcoins. We all know that. We all know that Ethereum was just down 70%, just like fucking last month, and it just fucking shredded faces, okay? And most of you guys are probably not trading spot. You're trading futures on leverage, and you can't survive a 70% pullback. You're going to get swooped and duped. So when we see the pumps, you have to dump. Otherwise, you're going to get dumped on, and you don't have any money to buy the dip. You're just getting bitch slapped, okay? And we also know that Ethereum is also in a long-term force pattern right now, okay? That is the previous ATH here. We are now potentially bullishly flagging under this zone before we maybe break out, of which Ethereum is a little bit lagging right now compared to everything else, especially altcoins are finally seeing move to the upside. We'll look at others' dominance here momentarily, but we are also in a force pattern phase of the market cycle for Ethereum. So this is looking very bullish right now. As long as we hold above this breakout high, right? As long as we hold above these previous breakout zones here and hold that support, we are looking good on Ethereum. Altcoins should hold up. But obviously, we have been overbought for some time on the weekly chart. And it is a little bit risky, right? So we're hoping for one last pump, one last run for the next 30 to 60 days that we can cash in on and exit the markets. Get the fuck out before it all comes crashing down on itself. Because there's a lot of different things going on in the market. The housing market's going a little fucking crazy in the U.S. Jobs are going crazy in the U.S. Warren Buffett has built his biggest cash position in history. There's a lot of various factors. Ray Dalio is calling this huge credit crisis implosion on itself. There's a lot of factors that could come into fruition where the house of cards is continually being built up and it's becoming more fragile. And the higher this thing gets built up in a house of cards, becoming, AKA it's fragile, once one thing breaks, car loan delinquencies, all-time highs. There's a lot of shit going on that the market is ignoring here. So once one thing breaks, it could see a cascading effect to the downside. A lot of it is just AI is holding everything up. Everybody's just fascinated by AI. It's creating a bigger price to earnings forward ratio than the dot-com bubble, okay? If you look at a chart of like forward earnings for valuation of stocks up here, it is now even higher than the dot-com bubble. And we all saw what happened in the dot-com bubble. Everything crashed. Stocks crashed 60 to 90%. Not crypto, stocks, okay? So we're at like these crazy, crazy levels that we all should be a little bit cautious about, okay? Before you get all crazy, think you're going to start hodling when you bought the fucking top. You don't buy at the top and start hodling. You buy when everything crashes and then you hodl on the way up, okay? People don't like to hodl. People are forced to hodl because they buy the fucking all-time highs because they get so amped up that they don't want to miss the run. So now that I've gone through that rant, let's talk about the coins that you can trade that I think are still on the brink of major moves right now. And just to bring up Hydra funding, which is in fact my crypto prop firm, we just launched instant crypto funding. No longer do you have to go through a 1 or 2 phase challenge. You can actually get access to instant funding. Upwards of 100K in capital, you can get payouts on day one, earn 75% of the profits if you earn any cash on it, okay? It is a little bit more expensive for the instant, but we still have the 1 and 2 phase challenges. The problem with crypto is crypto's not going to wait for you. By the time you pass the 2 phase challenge, the pumps are going to happen. You just miss the entire fucking run. And then you're going to give it all back once you're finally funded on the crash. Okay. So instant funding is a game changer. You can get 20% off with the code FOOS20, I believe, down in the link below. Or there's a link for Blofin or Phemex if you want to trade on a crypto exchange. That's what I trade on. But now let's get back into my favorite coins right now. Okay. First and foremost, XRP. We just locked in 300K profit, my record trade on XRP, which we should be posting that video momentarily. We rode this wave right here, cashed out at about 347, dumped it, rained on everybody's faces because everyone decided to buy the fucking top thing that was going to pump. And then what happens when everybody buys into that momentum is leverage gets too big and the system and bridge and essentially implodes on itself and the system fails. And that's what happened. That's what led to that big crash. I got stopped out at 347, locking in $302,000 profit, my biggest record trade ever. We then started to buy into this dip as we started accumulating down in these demand zones here, down here. Now we're rolling back above degenerate trend. We're just about to break out over the 50-day moving average. If this breaks out, I'm not going for like any crazy profit target, but you know, anywhere between above these highs, previous highs about 365, upwards about 450, I would be gladly just fucking scaling out of this position up in that zone. If it keeps going, I don't fucking care. Like, if it does one of these fucking mega runs, like, sure, great. That's great, okay? But how many times have you gone for this mega run and only get dumped on? Okay, I just like to lock in profits so I can go buy something tangible and get it out of crypto before I lose it all. That's what I've learned. If you make money in crypto, get it out of there so you don't go fuck off with it and do something stupid later, right? Like a lot of people bought in this one here. Oh shit, boom, huge fucking liquidation. What the hell? Welcome to fucking crypto, okay? So that's why you need to exit crypto and lock in gains along the way up, because you never know what the hell is going to happen in crypto. But XRP is looking absolutely amazing right now, okay? We just broke above the descending trend. We're coming out of this demand zone here. And if you look at the QCR, so every Monday I send out the Quantum Cipher report. If you're in the Quantum member Cipher mentorship, we meet twice a week and go over all the trades as well. But I also send a video once a week to the Wolfpack group. And so XRP, we are looking to buy into these demand zones as we came back down into that zone, right? So you can see this is weeks in advance prior to it coming down in these zones that we're waiting to set traps to then buy into those zones, okay? And exactly what happened, price came down into those zones, into the first zone, broke the first zone, came into our second zone, we continued accumulating, and now we're back in, and now it's rolling out of that zone, but looking very, very bullish. So XRP target between 380 to 450. I will be completely satisfied with those profit targets. Whole number at $4, probably a realistic short-term target. What happens from there? I don't know. INJ, this is in what we call a revival pattern, okay? Again, every pattern that I trade in crypto is not just random patterns. I only trade patterns that I have identified within the market cycle, right? Lead in trend, very bearish, followed by this breakout formation. That's what I call a revival. That's exactly what pattern we are in here on INJ. We bought into demand zones here on INJ. Down here from the QCR. Looking to scale into this entire zone. That was the game plan. Have a grid of like 20 orders of scaling in all the way down to $12 into that zone, because I didn't know what's going to happen. All I know is that we still have a lot of downside, but this is in a perfect revival pattern, so I wanted to scale into that zone. We came all the way back into that zone, started to scale into that zone, and now we were rolling out of that zone and looking absolutely perfect, priming up for the breakout over 1646. If that happens, pretty much the next major supply level is right around here, but you can really realistically take this entire zone as, okay, we don't know how high it's going to go. There's a zone here, and all the zone all the way up here about 25. So anywhere between 20 to 26 is going to be the near-term profit targets from there. What happens from there, I have no idea. Maybe this thing actually does go on a fucking bender of a run, but we also have, actually, I'm just noticing this now. So we have a multi-factor breakout here. One, we have the revival pattern breakout. Two, we have a 1.5 year long descending trend line that could be broken at the same exact time that the revival is broken. So that has huge implications for INJ if it breaks out above that zone. First target here, second target, then obviously these highs will probably be an issue where there's going to be sellers. But I will be satisfied anywhere between 19 and 34. Like, I'm going to be locking in gains the entire way up, because I'm not going for this, okay? We know what happens every time it pumps. It's going to dump, okay? Also, on top of world economic fucking shit shows we got going on, I don't have enthusiasm for mega runs, but I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just here to make money, wait for the next pattern, and then get in on that. Next setup, AVAX. Like, you guys, you can't have, this doesn't get much more perfect than this. Again, I'm just looking for patterns. I'm looking for revivals. Lead in trend, bearish, followed up by this revival pattern setup. What do we have here? Like, fucking picture perfect. This is just on the cusp. If this breaks out, this 26, 27 zone, this thing is going to fly instantly, probably to about 34, 35. And then again, similar situation, all these little dips and spikes, but that was basically the same exact setup on INJ. anywhere between 33 to 45 is going to be a zone to be locking in gains. We also have the same exact descending long-term trend here on AVAX. So wouldn't be surprised if this did something like break out through here, consolidate, and then have a lot of trouble once it hits that trend line. Maybe come back down, or maybe even consolidate, and we just go fucking epic moon busters to the upside here. So AVAX, awesome looking setup. Currently long, have been scaling into this from the QCR as we bought into that demand zone down here in the 20s, low 20s, and still looking good. So again, if you want access to the QCR that I send out every Monday, and I send out these alerts, far in advance before we even enter, just so you can set a trap and actually follow along. There's going to be another video below. I'd suggest watching that for continued training on how my trading philosophy all works. Okay. But next up, we have ADA. We bought into ADA as we started dipping down into this demand zone. Boom. We got an ADA right around 82 cents. This is now pumping up. Right now, we're basically just in this market structure going on right here. So what I'm going to be looking for on ADA is just a continued pump into the upper boundary of this channel again, which is also probably going to align upwards of that horizontal resistance up here. And then I would like to cash out, and then if we get up in that zone, okay, and then maybe see some sort of dip off that and then bullishly flag, then what do we have? We have a potential force pattern in the making here on ADA, okay? But right now, we're in low. I'd like to sell up here as we get back into resistance. Then maybe if we see some sort of consolidation, markets cool off, gives us a dip buying opportunity, then maybe I would like to join on the ride. But I don't want to buy down here, sit up here and wait to see if it does flag and break, only to watch it do this, go up here and then come all the way back down to where I fucking bought it and not make any money. Because that's probably what's going to happen. Just like we've seen time and time fucking again. Okay? So I like locking in gains. I'm not here for hodling. I'm here for short-term juice. All right. Say, also another one, perfectly retesting this zone here. I'm not long on Say, but I do have high confidence that if the market does pump, Say will also have a big move to the upside. Same with SUI. This is a trade we're looking at buy in on the dip in the weekly demand here. Just did not get right into that zone, but I also have a lot of confidence that SUI will potentially run if the market does go on a big run. Solana also showing a lot of strength here, breaking out. I do think this is probably going to retest 260 to 200, 290 to 300. Super, another one that is perfectly testing this lower demand zone. I'm not in it. Some of my group got into this right into here. I made a lot of money going selling out right here, and then I got stomped out fucking twice. So I'm kind of sick of trading this one, but it is in a revival pattern, right? Coming off of a very, very low demand zone on Super. So there is potential for this to come back up into this zone and then break out over one and just go on an epic run like it has done in the past, where we made a shitload of money on this pump last time. But Super's been lagging quite a bit, so I'm not too enthusiastic about Super anymore. Beam also in a potential revival pattern. So there's a lot of setups going on right now. I'm currently only long AVAX, INJ, and ADA, and XRP. Those are my only positions as of right now. But anyways, guys, big news coming out. Baby Pips, not baby Pips. Baby Pips economic calendar. What do we have coming out? This week, red news only. Tuesday, PPI. Wednesday, PPI. Thursday, initial jobless claims, inflation rate, core inflation rate. And then next week, oh no, the federal funds rate. Is it going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event? Federal funds rate, September 18th, the moment of doom, where we're either going to continue to see a big pump to the upside and this pattern finally come into fruition after waiting for 4 years, or we all get fucking dumped on and we all wonder why the fuck we didn't sell and lock in more gains. That's crypto. One last trade, Ondo. I do like Ondo. picture perfect revival pattern forming up deep in the trenches. Still a lot of upside just before it even gets here. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap for today. I have another free training video that's going to give you a little bit more detail about how I operate as a trader. I have made millions of dollars doing this. I've been doing this for fucking 20 years. Long fucking time. It's in the bio. And 30, 60 days, let's see how much money we make. All right. Peace out.